Tippy time, my damies, and welcome back to Reviewedly Interrupted, revamped. Should I start it as a new season? No, this is episode 46, while I will be doing Spookies. Kind of trying a different little format here, and the first little part, I'm going to talk about the physical media aspect. This is the Vinegar Syndrome edition. Now, I waited a long time for this movie to come out like in a really good edition because all I had was a burned copy, and before that, it was just like renting a VHS, which went away a long time ago. And I always wanted to get really get a good copy of this movie because it's got nostalgias in my heart for me. So let's take a quick look at this Vinegar Syndrome edition of Spookies. Ooh. It's 2 discs, main feature and special features and everything like that, and something which has become fairly common among releases, like little higher grade releases and everything like that. Not so much like some cheap copy that some manufacturer got the rights to the movie and were able to fucking throw it out there or whatever, of the reversible cover art. I, of course, went with this Spookies cover art because it's so spooky. But this is a really great edition, and I love that it's on Blu-ray too. Getting to see it in high def because, like I said, nostalgia. I used to rent this almost every Halloween and in between times just to watch it because I fucking love it. There's something about it, has the same vibe as Night of the Demons and Cthulhu Mansion, where it's like a bunch of people thrown in a house and there's all these different demons or monsters or something, just picking them off one by one, almost like its own mini little whatchamacallit, anthology. And it's got some great special features, which I will be talking about in part 3. This is I want to show off kind of the edition, the physical media edition, and then I will talk about the movie in part 2. And in part 3, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna watch all the special features and maybe not give so many giveaways about stuff, but definitely give you an idea of what the special features are about and if you're interested in stuff. It's got a feature-length making of documentary with a commentary track, which is pretty cool to get more in depth into the story, because there's also the VIPCO, the Untold Story. It's a documentary about a lot of the shit that these motherfuckers went through trying to get this movie out. The screening 2015 Alamo Drafthouse screening introduction, Q&A, usual stuff like outtakes, behind the scenes gallery, trailers, and all that stuff. So it came with a decent little chunk of special features there too, and Vinegar Syndrome came out with a very solid edition of a cult classic for a lot of us. So unfortunately, I'm gonna check again. It was in between making this little part of the video, but I'll check again. I went to Vinegar Syndrome's site, and for some reason Spookies was not on there, but Amazon has an import. You can get import copies of the Blu-ray. I'm not quite sure if they're Vinegar Syndrome edition either. I didn't check the details and everything, but there's a link for that. I'll double check Vinegar Syndrome in case you want to go on their site, but I'll put the link to Vinegar Syndrome anyway, just so you can go check out that site, because if you're a collector, it's a great site to find a lot of really, really cool movies. And so I'm gonna go watch this movie for the 50th time and enjoy every second of it. And then I'll come back and talk about it, and then I'm going to deeply immerse myself yet again, because I have watched these. I don't think I watched the one with the commentary, but I'll have to check it out with the commentary, and give you a little in-depth into what the special features are about and everything. This little intro part right here will probably get a little shorter depending on stuff. I did some yapping about hey, it's revamped, so just bear with me. All right, I'm gonna go watch the Spookies and just love every fucking second of it. So Later, bitches. Okay, folks, here's the meat and potatoes of this lovely, lovely video. All right, let's talk about this movie, Spookies. Okay, I'll get into certain aspects more when I talk about the special features, because the special features go into it. But, like, let's just talk about the movie itself, what we see on screen. And it is fucking great. Like I said, nostalgic. I talked about renting it back in the day, but also, like, it was one of those movies that I got introduced to. Like, I don't know if you all watched like TNT or TBS back in the day, all of a sudden, sometimes late at night, on the weekends, or really around Halloween and shit like that. And definitely during this, I don't know, different times a year, I guess, you know, they would, there were certain movies that got played pretty frequently on there, you know, at least yearly and everything. You know, I got introduced to Beastmaster, Darkman, the Conan movies, fucking, then horror movies like Squirm, Slugs, Night of the Lepus, just all this stuff. And Spookies was also one of them, you know? And so it really takes me back. But like, the movie starts off where it's like, okay, I love the main titles, how they're like dripping down. It's all like kind of cartoony and everything. They're a little cartoony, and it's very old school and very cool. But it starts off, it's like, okay, yeah, we're following this kid. He's running away from home. Some shit happened. Meets creepy guy in the woods, and we're thinking like, oh, this guy seems fairly nefarious. There's something a little off about him. But then like that guy gets offed by Werecat guy who has a hook for a hand and spurs and all this stuff. It's like all of a sudden all this mishmash that kind of doesn't make sense. But it's like in the 80s, movies would do that, dude. They would just be like, it would throw you in and you'd be like, okay. And then you'd have to just go for the ride, and slowly pieces would fall into place and everything. And then all of a sudden, kid goes to this house. And like at this point, it seems like this fucking kid is the main motherfucker of the movie, the main protagonist and everything. And I guess Werecat guy, or no, like, I think by this time, yes, it definitely introduced old wizard guys. So we're like, okay, this guy must be Ringmaster, and then Werecat is right-hand man. But here's our main antagonist, which remain the main antagonists through the movie. But we're following what we think is our main protagonist, just to watch him get buried a fucking live. You know, after going to the house and shit, tripping shit. I mean, he gets buried a fucking live. It's kind of like brutal and everything. You know, hold on just a second. This is one of those impromptu moments. See, I'm upping the production value somewhat on my videos, but this is still like by the seat of my pants. And I got to open the door for my cat really quick because she's meowing at the door because she's a fuckhead. So let me take care of fuckhead really quick. I'm still here. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Oh my God, this show is so wild. You never know what's going to happen, right? Ha! I'm back. Cat's happy. Cat's outside. Fuck faces taken care of. But like, buried alive. And it's like, you know, if you really watch it, it's like a pretty brutal scene. He's just slowly burying that kid. You see the kid get buried more and more. His arms are flailing. He's just laying there getting covered with more dirt. It's a pretty awesome fucking burial scene, you know? Then all of a sudden, boom, we're introduced to, like, in the interim, we're introduced to like this ragtag group of misfits that doesn't, you kind of go like, as they progress, just their interactions, it's like, these guys all know each other. They all hang out. The one couple seems like they're just like friends of one of the other couples that are friends of that. I think it's not like they all hang out all the time. Like one group of friends is maybe more friends with this other group of friends or something. But like we meet what become our group of main antagonists, or protagonists, my bad. And as they get whittled down in this lovely 10 Little Indians style fucking horror, veiled horror anthology, you know? And, you know, slowly get picked off by all these like crazy weird monsters. We got weird little lizard gremlins that look like something that came out of like Ghoulies or some shit. We got the farty mud people, you know, except they get taken out by wine, which makes sense. You know, if there's going to be farty mud people, wine is definitely going to be their Achilles heel. 10 times out of 10. I mean, there's no debating that. And let's see, we got weird shock creature. You know, he has his beating heart where he has the tentacles that come out and everything. One of the main ones that like, I think it's stuck in my brain the most just because it's so fucking wild. And that's like the spider lady. Just her morphing is some of the most insane shit I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like wild. She doesn't really look super spider-esque until like the end of the morph. And other than that, it just looks like some really weird, twisted shit. I mean, even the zombies that are running around, Gabe Bartalos being one of the special effects people, that's pretty fucking sweet because, you know, I reviewed St. Bernard, which I'll probably do. I plan on going back on some of these and like updating them in kind of this vein, this style that I'm doing now, this revamped bullshit. And might revisit, go a little more in depth and everything instead of just like kind of like vague stoner ramblings about the movie, you know, maybe get a little more like pointed, detailed. I don't know. Let's try something new. We're revamping. You know? It's like, what's that fucking show where they just go and they're like, hey, we're going to tear the shit up out of your house and here's your new one. You know, it's like that, you know? But like the special effects are just so great. You know, you could tell that they had a very limited budget because like there's other movies that came out around that time with special effects that were like, you know, pretty like fucking whoa, because they had the money to spend to really get really detailed into it, blah, blah, blah. You could tell when there's just like masks that are like have been painted and redone in different ways and like to make shit. Just the different half-assed animatronic fucking zombie heads and bullshit like that. It's just so effects laden through the whole thing, and it's so great. I mean, it never gets, there's blood in it, but it never gets super duper crazy gory. But there's some blood, so that's cool. You know, and the crazy weird Ouija board, that thing was pretty neat. How it was just different stylistically to bring like the Ouija board in and just, but in a different style. So that was pretty cool. And all right. What else I want to talk about in this movie? Like, I really love how they made the chick look who becomes possessed too, because you know, just that look was like really cool, desiccated, almost like very. I want to say Italian, but I'm not sure if I want to say Italian. But just the look was great. The makeup effects on that were really cool. I like the way they look. And fucking, I don't know. And then finally, like, it slowly revealed that there's a subplot there. I guess somehow crazy, evil, eternal wizard guy found some way to get those guys to come there, that group of people, because he needed to sacrifice them and their souls to raise other creatures and give life to his old lady or something. I don't know. He's trying, like, brought her back to life and trying to like get her to like not kill herself and be in love with him, but he's like weird looking, so I kind of don't blame her. Plus it's like she's already been dead, I guess. And it's like, I'm surprised she knew even a little bit about cars, because This movie came out in the 80s and said that she's been dead 70 years. So, I mean, that's like early 1900s, man. What was that, like the Edsel, the Ford Edsel or something like that, or the Model A was around then? So maybe she knew about, kinda. But anyway, so the whole thing revolves around, of course, fucking evil dude trying to possess the beautiful blonde, quote unquote, the heroine. Except she was kind of a heroine, but not really. And keep her as his possession and make her love him because he has become completely obsessed with her. And we find out that that's the big old subplot. That's why he's doing this shit. And it's like, all right, it's like almost like a classic trope, the lady in the middle. It's like basically this movie is Super Mario Brothers. The evil wizard is Bowser, King Koopa. This ragtag group of heroes is Mario, and he's got so many lives. And in the middle is Princess Peach. This movie is Super Mario. It's Super Mario. So, but like, I don't know, it's just so great how it goes along. And just the different, like what I mean by horror anthology is that there's all these different little monsters, these different creatures that are picking off these motherfuckers like one by one. So it's almost like not a different story, but like different chunks that like are completely their own separate little thing almost, that make this whole mosaic of this movie, And I thought that was pretty fucking cool because I hearkened it. Oh, Spookies, I love this Blu-ray. I love this Blu-ray. I hearkened it to like movies like, Night of the Demons. Although they're all like demons, but it's like, they're different demons. So fuck it. Well, they're in the big house. It's kind of the same thing. Ragtag group of heroes, each one getting picked off by their own separate little fucking evil thing. And then also like Cthulhu Mansion, which I will be doing that down the road, and I am so glad I own that movie. That was a movie I rented and it stuck with me, and it has taken years for it to finally become available and for me to like snag it up, and I did not hesitate. Well, I hesitated until I had the money, and then I didn't hesitate. But like, picked off one by one in different ways and all this stuff. Except like, we got antagonists that are like, and that's a different one. We'll get into that when we get there. But yeah, so it's almost like an anthology, and there's even death, like this statue of death. Like I don't know what it's supposed to be made out of. It looks like that, like those little figurines you buy. And you're supposed to like paint them. They're like all white, and you paint them how you want them and stuff. It almost looks like that. But then it like comes alive, and it's like fucking guys up, and like, I don't know. You could tell it's a dude in a suit, and you could tell they had to do what they had to do because they had limited funds and everything. Like nowadays, well, like, a bigger budget studio would maybe try like have more to make like robotic animatronics and shit like that, or different things like that, to like, so you could see that it's just a skeleton or some shit. I don't know, but you can tell it's like there's a person in a suit, and they had to put the chest rib cage out a little further and everything. But I mean, it's like great because they use so many different effects. There's even like when the bitch's face melts and everything, like was that like stop motion and shit, and just they use so much different stuff, and I think they did an amazing job because it is one of the most entertaining horror movies I've ever watched in my entire life. I love this movie. It is so, every time I watch it, I'm just like, this is so much fun. I get it. The characters, there's like some comedic interludes, little brief comedic interludes, but they don't distract from the overall movie. It's like let's say, okay, now there's a whole thing that I'll talk about later in the special features and everything. But the farting mudmen and everything, it's like, if you watch it with the sound off, it's like these things are menacing. They're grabbing like pickaxes and everything else, and like they're super strong and very violent. They're exuding like this total fucking violence. Like they want to just tear you the fuck apart, you know? And it's like a very great scene. The farts make it like less intense, but it's actually like a very solid scene, you know? But what I think is great is that there are farts added to it, so you got like this visual, like I was really watching it this time, just really, really paying attention to this part, especially. Because you got the fart sounds going off, and it's giggly and it's goofy, right? But then you really watch it, and it's like, yes, those things are fucking menacing. They are like coming, and that one guy's just breaking shit just very violently and very just like he is just full of seething hatred for these human beings, and he will do everything he can to just tear them to pieces, rip them, crush them, whatever. He is just exuding this violence, you know? And it's such a great juxtaposition, like the absolute seriousness of the scene with the absolute goofiness of the farts, which is, it's kind of an allegory for my life, to be honest. That scene is very allegorical of my life, where it's a lot of very serious visuals with lots of farts. You hear them, and if you're in the vicinities, you smell them. Apologies to all, but not really. Yeah, you know, and what's something else I can say about this movie? I like how the first guy dies too. Like, not like the dude in the woods, but the dude in the group. How he's just like, fuck this shit, and he books and trips, and he lands on the ground, and up pops his tombstone, and what burns out of it is his name across the top of the tombstone. I love how it burns. You know, it's like on fire, and it spells out his name and everything, and then he just gets sucked into the ground. That's it. Nothing major, but that's the first foray into what's going on with these assholes. Because the first two kills, other than the fact that the guy's a werecat, there's nothing supernatural about him. He fucking cuts weird guy up in the woods. He fucking dies. Chases kid, scratches his ass up a little bit, throws him in a grave, and buries him alive. Nothing supernatural about that. But then the first kill of the fucking motherfuckers, the group, the troop, is just like so like completely different. There's nothing physical about it. Yes, he's getting sucked into the ground. You could say that's physical, but he's getting sucked straight into solid ground. That's very weird and metaphysical. Not metaphysical, but like, you know what I mean, like magical. Dark magic, you know, gravestone popping up. It's like that's when it starts taking a little bit more of a turn, and it's like, oh, okay, and then that kill really sets up how this isn't just going to be like a regular kind of slasher type movie. There's going to be some supernatural shit going down. So I thought that was pretty cool too. And the one goofy guy and his hand puppet, that shit was pretty funny. He was the comic relief. I love how he's wearing a shirt of himself with his puppet. That's pretty solid. If I was that guy, I would wear that shirt too. I should get a shirt of my face and just wear it around. I won't have a puppet. I don't do puppet stuff because I don't know. Not something I ever thought about doing. Tried sock puppets, hand puppets, and stuff, but I'd rather watch stuff about puppets than be a puppeteer. That's just a personal preference. It's nothing against puppeteers themselves. I'm sure they're all very, very fine, upstanding individuals. Except for that guy who did Elmo. I heard he was a fucking creep. But yeah, man, this is, and I love on the back of all the bizarre horror films made in the 1980s. Spookies easily ranks among the weirdest, and that is true. It is so fucking wild. It is entertaining as shit, and I don't know what else to say about this. There are certain elements in it that like it's like how there's that saying that like every riff has already been written, every note has already been played, blah 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 blah. You know, it's like everything's already been done. There's just variations on it, and it's like you could see little things in this movie which harken to other movies. You know that like I do believe that Evil Dead came out first, but like the whole like join us, you know, it like totally borrowed that, you know, and then when one lady, her all of a sudden her head splitting open, she's got all that light and crazy shit coming out of her fucking face, like, and the couple's on the ground there and they're like aging, it's like it's sucking the life out of them and aging them and everything. That totally just reminded me of Beetlejuice when they're doing the fucking whatchamacallit, and the couple just sucks in, you know, they're just like dying and desiccating, you know. It totally reminded me of that. Like, I wonder if Tim Burton watched Spookies and I'm not gonna say stole, I'm gonna say borrowed that idea and threw that in there, because that totally reminds me of that. And I love the tough guy dude. He's just like always angry. It doesn't matter what it is. But like, happy birthday. Here's $100, Duke. What? You think I fucking need money? Like I'm not man enough to get my own $100? Like he's so over the top the whole time. It doesn't matter what it is. Hi, how you doing, Duke? What the hell's that supposed to mean? What, you want to fight about it? It's like so hilarious. It's like I can see this guy getting in a fight, like not even a real fight because he wasn't all beat up, and I honestly don't see this guy beating up, like really beating up somebody else either. I see it more as just like a real shoving match, and grabbing shirts and be like, yeah, you want some of this, and then it gets broken up and they get kicked out. That's what the fight I think happened. But like I could see this guy doing that and getting them kicked out of the party, you know. And it's like in the one couple, the British chick and David, just their whole relationship on the couple with trouble. That's great. The one guy is just, he picked the worst night to finally take a stand. It's like you waited till the night you died to finally take a stand and say like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of your bullshit. He doesn't seem like he would be a prize to live with either. He seems like he'd probably be kind of whiny, but she's kind of a cunt, and it's like he waited till then. It's kind of like, all right, dude. Great timing, bro. But yeah, this is a gem of a movie, and I actually Spookies popped up on Vinegar Syndrome website, so I put the link down in the description and everything. And yeah, I definitely recommend watching Spookies if you haven't, and picking it up. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go watch some of these special features, come back and give a little like overview of the special, like instead of just saying like this is what it is and reading it, you know, give you a little bit of like, hey, yeah, you know, they kind of talk about this, and give you a little bit of an overview of the special features. So if you're like, you know what, I love Spookies, I don't own a copy, I want to get a copy, that sounds cool, learning more about it, knowing this and that, blah blah blah. Or if you're just like really starting to get into horror movies, and you're like, hey man, what's some old school cool shit? Boom, get this copy. You know, and especially if you're a little bit of a cinephile like myself, you know, and you love the movie, or you just want to see it, and fuck it, these special features come along with it, and so you watch it and you want to get more in depth with it, you know, give you an overview so you know what you're walking into there. But yeah, so I'm gonna go watch these again. I have watched them already, but I'm gonna watch them again, and come back and give you a little overview on that, and wrap this shit up. So back in a little bit. Spookies, scaries. All right, I made it through the special features again. Like, and talk a little bit about the special features there. Okay. Really great special features. Oh, like on the disc that is, it says main feature. It has a little bit of the special features. Basically, the Alamo Drafthouse screening, introductions, and the Q&A and everything from that. And it's like, so if you watch those special features first, if you don't know anything about the history of the movie, which I didn't, I just enjoyed the movie because there was something, maybe it was me unknowing the disjointedness, but feeling the disjointedness of how it was two movies, because it does, after you know that, it definitely plays like that. But the Q&As, like, first piques your interest. If you go in not knowing, you're like, wait, what was going on with this movie? And then you get into the special features on the second disc, especially the Twisted Tale, the Unmaking of Spookies, and you get a really good view into, like, how production went and how the end result is actually two different movies crammed and smushed together and everything. And it's like, and then you can really see it, you know. And I would have loved to see the original Twisted Souls cut. I bet it was great, because the most memorable parts about that fucking movie, about this fucking movie right here, Spookies, are the original Twisted Soul parts. All like the main protagonists and all the creatures, and like minus the zombies, like all the creatures and all the deaths and all that kind of shit is the Twisted Souls part. All like the, I'm an ancient wizard or something, and this is my Catman guy, lieutenant, captain, colonel, or whatever, you know, of my dark army, and here's my little demon son and my recently resurrected dead wife who hates me and would rather be dead than be with me. You know, all that shit is completely something different. And with that cut out in the original Twisted Souls, I really wish that footage would have remained and they would have been able to get a hold of that, so there could have been like a release later where you can watch like the Spookies cut that got cut, but then you can watch like the original Twisted Souls and how they wanted it. That would have been pretty fucking cool, because like I said, the most memorable parts are the Twisted Soul parts. So the documentary is really eye-opening and really great, and like you get to learn more about the production and everything and the interaction, and then the culmination of all the bullshit that happened. And what's also cool is Vipco, The Untold Story, which is about the company that, you know, that had a big like they were the ones that basically kind of kicked off the video nasty dealio, and because they were releasing shit and somebody was like, stumbled across it, was like, I don't approve of this, we must ban shit, you know, because that always goes great. That's what you should do. If you don't understand something or like it, ban it immediately. Make sure that shit is not a shit anymore, but shit. But like it's pretty cool to like see the rise and fall of Vipco, because, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm on this side of the pond, you know, and I only knew a lot more about, you know, different distribution labels that are maybe more global or states based. So it was kind of cool, and it's like, oh, okay, you know, that, like, it'd be cool to, like, I'm not going to specifically go out and find them, because I know that like a lot of the original titles are just going to be expensive as fuck, people trying to sell those. But, you know, like maybe getting a chance to pick up like one of their DVD releases, you know, here and there, that'd be kind of cool to add to the collection, little kitschy shit, you know. But yeah, so the special features are actually really solid if you want to get more in depth with the movie. You know, there's no commentary for the movie, which I was like kind of shocked about. But, you know, if you know the story of Spookies, you can understand it wouldn't have worked. They would have had to find somebody totally impartial that had probably nothing to do with the production in any way, shape, or form. And you know, I can understand why there's a lot of bad blood, but you know, if any of the people associated with Spookies come across this, be like, listen, I totally get it, I totally understand. Like I said, the Twisted Souls sections are the sections that are memorable, that are the shit. And though things got totally fucking out of whack, the end result is still a movie that is greatly appreciated. Just it still turned out great. I know it could have been greater, but it's something that's very entertaining, and there's a lot of fans, and I'm one of them. And yeah, so I gotta say, the special features were great to go through again. And yeah, so that was Spookies. Check out the links in the description to go check out IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes. If you want to pick up a copy, I got the Vinegar Syndrome link, Amazon link, and even the Wikipedia page if you want to go read some shit about it. You know, it's like if you're a fan, you just want to like learn little like trivia tidbits. I mean, you would think a tidbit would be trivial, but when you're a movie geek, they're not so trivial to us, just to everyone around us that we annoy with them. But yeah, so I enjoyed watching Spookies, and welcome back to a revamped Reviewedly Interrupted. This has been episode 46 of the Spookies, and they're so scary. They've spooked me out with their spookiness. And yeah, wada ta. Till next time. Fuckers. Scary spook.